Politics as usual.
So, but yeah, okay.
I guess welcome back, Politics as Usual, episode, this is one, right?
Yeah, this is actually one. The first one was like a trial run.
Yeah, last time was 0. So hopefully we're doing this a little more official this time. So shout outs to the kids wear crowns.com. I have no idea what's on the site because I haven't written anything all year. I still have the highest viewed post of the year, so.
Yeah, everybody wants to know, how do you lose 92 bricks?
And I didn't even say anything revolutionary in that post, but apparently, shout outs to Drake for putting that in the record. So now kids who have never heard that song were Googling it.
Wait, what record? You put that in the song?
Yeah, I forgot what he said, but he said something about
was it on like
losing 92 bricks.
Was it on Scorpion? Or?
I think so.
That's why I haven't heard it. Okay.
Yeah, I ain't listened to that album. All right. We are live at Trim Grooming Lounge, 2200 2nd Avenue, New York. Go to 2200trim.com to book your cuts. Do not book my barber. Because I don't want to have longer wait times because y'all. But no, seriously, I just got out the chair. If you've ever seen me without a haircut, you know my hairline is atrocious. So my barber actually made me look presentable. His name's Tadarius Jones. You can book him on the website 2200trim.com. Right side of the page, hit schedule now to take you to another page where you can go out and schedule. So shout outs to them. We're actually going to be working on another show with them very soon. But this week we are discussing cultural appropriation and culture vultures. And the reason this topic came up was because Dame Dash said that Leor Cohen, who used to be the executive at Def Jam, who was who pretty much gave Rockefeller and Disturbing the Peace and Good Music and all of those sub-labels at Def Jam that had black owners, he gave them their start in the music business for them to be in charge of budgets, to do executive shit within the music business. And Dame Dash, who was a beneficiary of Leor Cohen doing that, said that Leor Cohen was a culture vulture. And that kind of got us to talking about what is a culture vulture, what is really cultural appropriation, because we throw those words around so much. And I think that we don't really know what they mean sometimes.
Yeah, they like lose its meaning, like how people say literally is like a point of emphasis when that's not what literally means.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the word's thrown around so much that it's lost its context. So I think the big distinction was for me, and we were talking about this, we need to figure out what's cultural appropriation, or like not even appreciation, and just working within the culture, and what's like appropriation.
Right.
Because I think there's a difference between the two. You can work within the culture. That doesn't have to necessarily be appropriation, but appropriation is something totally different.
Right. Like, I like anime. I am not Japanese. I appreciate Japanese culture. I do not take it and act as if it's something I did. Or, for example, Aaron Magruder with the Boondocks. He had anime style,
perfect example. Yeah.
But he never claimed to be he never claimed it to be his own. Like, you know, someone actually asked why is Boondocks not considered anime on Twitter, and I was like, because anime is literally a cartoon produced in Japan. Any cartoon produced in Japan can be considered an anime. I think we've come to look at a certain style as anime. But any cartoon produced in Japan is considered an anime. That's why Boondocks is not an anime, because it was not produced in Japan. It's an American anime, or as I like to call American anime, but it's not an anime.
Right.
And Aaron Magruder never held it out there to be anime. He simply borrowed from their style and used it to create a show. The same way, who made Samurai Champloo? Well, Samurai Champloo took a lot of elements of hip-hop and incorporated it into the show. So that's an example of someone borrowing something, appreciating the culture, and using it to enhance their own creation as opposed to just outright taking it. Back to Leor. I don't know if Leor is a culture vulture.
Right.
Because he has done a lot for the culture. But then again, he is also eating off the culture, and he's putting a lot of people in positions of power, particularly over at YouTube, and he did so when he was at Warner. Putting them in charge of hip-hop stuff that aren't necessarily involved in the culture.
But see, with that, if someone is eating off the culture, but the culture has benefited from them, putting these people in places and
well, he did come up with a 360.
He did.
And I don't know if the culture's necessarily benefited from 360 deals as a whole.
My point is, if terrible record deals were like exclusive to him. I mean, the 360 is, but I'm just saying in general, like because there was like a point in like the early points of hip hop where people were getting signed to these terrible record deals before Leo Cole.
They're still doing that now.
Yeah, and they're still doing that now. So if he's playing within the game, can I say that he's necessarily?
I think with him the case is so different because he did do a lot in the early days of hip
Right.
He did give Rockefeller their own label. He did give Disturbing the Peace their own label. He did give countless other groups. Grand Hustle. He gave a lot of these people record deals who wouldn't have otherwise been able to be in charge of budgets and groups and handling their own business. But at the same time, as Dame Dash stated, he hasn't really, he's eaten off of it. He hasn't taken anything from it, but I don't know that he's really contributed much since his days at Def Jam either. So that's kind of the interesting point with him. Like, if you want to look at someone who's a culture vulture, Post Malone's a culture vulture.
Definitely.
Miley Cyrus is a culture vulture. Like, these are people who use hip hop for their own ends and give nothing back to it. Like, we gave Chrisette Michele all the shit in the world for performing at Donald Trump's inauguration. Post Malone was on The Breakfast Club and they asked him what he do. He said, "Is the price right?" And no one said a word.
No one said a word.
He started off as a rock singer, and I wrote a post about this called "Why I'm Not Mad at Post Malone." He started off doing rock and country covers, and then got into hip hop because we as black people have this obsession with mediocre white people doing things that appear black for whatever unknown reason. So he makes White Iverson and starts eating off of it, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll stay in this hip hop shit for a little bit longer." But Miley did the same thing. Miley came in, making songs with Future, and Mike Will made it, and the minute that she couldn't eat off of it anymore, she suddenly became, "Oh, I don't like hip hop. This is sexist and misogynistic," and whatever other little BS she said. It's like that happens all the time where we allow these people to come in, they eat off of it. But the minute that it's not profitable anymore, they walk out the door and don't do anything. Like, she's never lent her voice to any of our plights. Post Malone has never lent his voices to any of our plights. On the flip side of that, appreciators, you've got Mac Miller and Eminem.
And that was my point exactly, because they've done their homework and they appreciate the culture. Like, because Post Malone said in an interview, like, a rap song can never be like as conscious or like you don't listen to hip hop if you want to feel something. And I'm like, yeah, you don't know about hip hop if that's the case, because there's plenty of hip hop that can evoke emotion. Like, that shows me you only listen to the radio and you don't know anything about. Like, Mac Miller is an artist you can listen to if you want to feel something in the realm of hip hop. His music is very introspective. It's very emotionally driven. So, like, that's just a prime example right there. That's one I can name off the top of my head. Yeah, that lets me know that you only listen to rap that's on the radio.
Exactly.
But you use country as your point of reference, and they have a whole song called "Drunk on a Plane." So, I mean,
honky tonk, badonkadonk.
Right. So,
like, it just, I don't know. We have to get to the point where we stop getting mad at people. Like, there was the picture of the Asian kid on the subway, where he had dreads and a dashiki on, and people were upset about it. But I'm like, what do we say when black people get Chinese characters tattooed on them? Like, we can do that, but this kid can't get dreads and a dashiki. Like, now granted, I do think there's a lot of Asians in the culture who don't necessarily rock with black people.
Right.
And that in and of itself is an issue. Like, I constantly listen. This is when I knew that hip hop had, like, slipped out of our grasp. So I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast. And Bill Simmons and his white and Asian cohorts are always commenting on hip hop, like, just freely. And I'm always looking at them like, okay, I like you guys, but when are you getting the black person on here that's involved in the culture to commentate on? Why is Lindsay Zolads of The Ringer always writing on hip hop articles? What does Lindsay Zolads reference in hip hop? What's her experience in hip hop? And that's not a diss to her. I'm saying, Bill Simmons, use your platform to get an actual black person who grew up within the culture to write on it. That's how you can appreciate a culture.
I too listen to a podcast on The Ringer, The Watch, Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan. They were talking about the episode of Atlanta where Van went to the restaurant and her friend had Moscato, and I was like, why would you order Moscato at a dinner? That's a sweet wine. And then one of the guys came on there. I think it was Micah Peters guy. He came on there. He was like, I just have to correct y'all before we even get this pod started. That's black people drink Moscato. They don't care if you're eating a steak or you eat whatever. And then they actually took to it. It was like, wow, we didn't know. So every time they talk about something a black show, they have a black person on. I think more people need to do
Right.
that. Like if you're gonna talk about the culture, make sure you
Right.
bring an expert of the culture
Right,
to talk
like,
about.
yeah, I don't know why you're talking about stuff that's like when people get on Twitter and start commenting on like comic book movies that have never read a comic book.
Never read a comic.
Like, for example, I got on to this website, this blog, because Ron was like, hey, I need help with the comic book movies. You read comic books, so come in and lend your comic expertise to these posts. That's an example of he and I being from the same culture, same age, same demographic, but me knowing a little more about a subculture than he does, and him saying, hey, I don't want to talk about this because I don't necessarily know it the way you do, so let me have you do it. There's nothing wrong with that, with admitting that you like, because even within our own culture, like the big thing people always want to say, oh, black is not black people aren't a monolith, but black people don't respect the barriers and boundaries of our own subcultures. Like black nerd culture has suddenly exploded, and everybody wants to get mad at the blurs who were here from the beginning, being like, yo, y'all used to make fun of us for this shit.
It's because, like, to me, like, people ask, like, oh, why does that bother you now? Shouldn't you be happy? But the reclamation of that culture isn't happening by the people who live through that culture. So
exactly, it's the people who made fun of us for having comic books in our book bags, for playing with Pokemon cards, for doing nerdy stuff. Now all of a sudden they want to get into it, and it's like, yo, that's fine, but remember that this is its own subculture in and of itself. You can't be mad at white people gentrifying stuff, and then you want to come by and gentrify what we've done. Like, you weren't here at first. And so I think sometimes we have to sit and look at that, but like everybody isn't, the same, that there are different subcultures within, like someone was talking about that with Afro-Punk, isn't that the festival?
Yeah,
Afro-Punk, like how black people have just come in and taken that from the people who had started Afro-Punk, and it's become this big gentrified thing. And I'm like, sometimes we don't realize that we're doing that to one another.
Exactly.
Yes, blackness is a culture, but we have so many different subcultures within blackness that we have to be careful when we step into those spaces. Like, I know a lot of gamers. I'm not a gamer. I play video games, but I'm not a gamer, so I don't like speak on authority about gaming topics because I know too many people. Like our boy Chuck Charles, the CSJR, he's a big gamer. I don't talk about gaming stuff with authority. I'll ask him, or if I wanted to talk about something gaming, I'd get him on a podcast because he knows about it. He works within the industry and within that culture, so you can't just take stuff from people. Even though we're black and we're still the same, age, same demographic, we like some of the same stuff, but that's an area that he's immersed in that I'm not. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that, hey, I'm not versed in this, so let me get someone who is. So Bill Simmons, if this ever comes across your desk, you need to get some more black people on to discuss black culture stuff and stop letting Lindsay Zolads write about hip-hop. Because Lindsay Zolads knows nothing about hip-hop. No disrespect to Lindsay Zolads.
Yeah.
I mean, that just annoys the hell out of me. That she's always writing on hip-hop.
I'm not saying you can't have an opinion.
Right. Get people who know the culture.
Right.
Like, shout out to Michael Peters for correcting them, because that's annoying as heck to me when I get to listening to them, and he'll have him and his little Asian boys on, and they're discussing like hip hop and stuff. I'm like, y'all don't know what y'all are talking about at all.
Because it's funny, because I was having a conversation with a coworker, and he has like he listens to a lot of music, but primarily, of course, he listens to like 70s rock. Mm-hmm. Like he listens to Fish, he listens to Doobie Brothers, he listens to
Shouts to Michael McDonald, by the way.
Yeah, Michael McDonald. Yeah. So we were talking about just like, yeah, man, I was out, and it's like actually it's kind of funny because I think he was talking to Charles and D Gut. Shout out to them. Mm-hmm. He was talking to them. He was like, man, somebody told me that DMX is one of the best rappers of all time. I don't get that. I was like, dude, like, where were you when he went platinum with 2 albums in the same year?
Same calendar year.
That'll never happen again. Where were you when he was backstage at the Hard Knock Live tour?
Freestyling
against Jay-Z.
Like, come on, man.
So yes, so I had to like, in a very nice way, I just had to say like, hey man, like, trust me on this. DMX was that guy back in the day.
Like, not having the depth to talk about something isn't a bad thing.
Because on the flip
particularly
side,
to our Twitter followers.
Because on the flip side, when he starts talking about Grateful Dead and Doobie Brothers and all of them, I listen. I don't talk. I mean, I know the bare minimum, but I don't try to posture myself as an expert. I just listen. I just take it in, and then like, okay, because I didn't know that. Now you're telling me something I didn't know.
Right. Like when I listened, like when I was in a rock band, and people would, like my rock bandmates would be talking about rock and stuff. I never commented. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. But like when we get to talking hip hop, they be trying to be like, yo, chill out. This is my arena.
Right.
Like the same way I listen when you're telling me that you hate this drummer of this popular band, or when you're telling me that this guitarist is the best guitarist of all time, I sit and I listen to y'all's opinions because y'all play the instruments, y'all listen to the music, y'all have done this. I expect the same courtesy when I'm talking about something I am well versed in. Hip hop is one of those things. Comics is one of those things. But we don't always give people their reverence. Like, it's okay to have a difference of opinion. Like when me and Lee go back and forth about whether or not comic book movies are good. Lee knows a shit ton more about filmmaking than I ever will or care to. I'm talking about it from an entertainment standpoint. He's talking about it from the actual filmmaking context of it. But I don't ever crap on his knowledge of things because he's well versed in those things. He just sees it as a difference of opinion. There's a difference between that and you coming in saying, oh, well, I know all about this because it's this, and this. Like, you shouldn't do that. Or like when the Kardashians get credit for black hairdos that have been around forever.
Right.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian, her boxer braids, it started with her. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. We would have been wearing that hairstyle forever.
Because shout out to Ebony, because she asked me the topic of this show, and I told her cultural appropriation, and she was like, what do you mean by that? Like, can you give me an example? I was like, well, it would be like if a white person went to like a soul food restaurant, and they said, oh, this is a good meal. They took an Instagram photo of it, posted like, this is a good meal. You should check it out. That's appreciation. Appropriation is them being like, oh, Black Eyed Peas are the greatest thing ever. I just discovered them, and nobody has ever done this before. Like, that's appropriation.
Christopher Columbus.
Christopher Columbus, basically. So like you said with the hairdo, like, I don't, like, when I see like a white person wear braids, I don't,
Yeah, I mean, my thing.
But when they say like, oh, braids is the new style.
Yeah.
As if it hasn't been.
Right. Like, or when Miley Cyrus was getting all the credit for twerking, as if twerking hasn't been around for literally ever. Why are we giving
like
this
what would our lives be without twerking? So
I wasn't. I was a nerd, but far back as elementary school dances, girls was twerking before dude. So
like Whistle While You Twerk came out when I was in like fifth grade.
Like, come on, man. Like that's the difference. So when you see the Kardashians getting praised for black hairstyles, and then in the same day you see a little girl getting suspended for having a black hairstyle. Like that's where the beef lies, because these people come in and they take, but they don't ever lend their voices to what they're taking from.
Exactly.
Which is why when people try to say Eminem or Mac Miller or people like every white person within our culture is not a culture.
You know what's even more annoying than that? The Bruno Mars thing. What did that?
Oh my God! Yeah, I wanted to bring him up. When people were mad at Bruno Mars for kind of bringing back New Jack Swing. Every interview Bruno has been in, what does he say? Black people created every single musical style. That is where it all came from. Without black people, we wouldn't have any music in this country. And he is 100% correct. If you go to the root of every musical style in this country's history, you will find what? A black person. And he's the one telling us all this. So he is not appropriating a damn thing. He is appreciating and then turning around and telling you in every interview, whenever there's a camera or microphone in his face, when they're trying to give him credit for this stuff, he's saying, no, this wasn't me. I didn't do that. He's not pulling an Elvis. He's telling you where he got it from.
Because he's not saying like, oh, I'm bringing this back. He's just showing appreciation for the music he used to listen to.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it at all. Like, we have to stop this idea that, like, yeah, it sucks that we ran all of our gatekeepers off and we let too many people in who don't care about the culture, but that doesn't mean that every person who isn't of the culture that comes in doesn't know what they're talking about, doesn't have a right to speak on it, and isn't well versed in it. I mean, yeah, does it suck that every kid who listens to a hip-hop album feels like hip-hop is theirs? Yes, it sucks that they don't give the reverence to the founders of it, but that doesn't mean that every person is like that. Like, there's plenty of people that we know personally who contribute a ton to the culture that aren't trying to take or act like it's theirs, and that, to me, is the big difference between appreciation and appropriation.
You want me to get a show canceled so we'll never have another one again? What? There was an interview and like, I think it was like the Vogue that's in Europe anyway. There's this Swedish singer, and she was like, oh, my favorite singer is Beyonce, and they showed her doing a video singing a Beyonce song. And people are like, oh, Becca, can we have anything? Like, why? Like, now you're taking Beyonce from us, so you can't have it both ways. You can't say like, oh, Beyonce is the greatest entertainer of all time, which she kind of is at this point.
Yeah.
So you can't say that, but at the same time, cut people off and say, oh, you can't enjoy this.
Yes.
What's the point of that?
Yeah, like you can enjoy something without taking it.
Right.
Like I enjoy anime. I'm not trying to steal it. Like that's just my biggest example of all of us who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. We know how to enjoy and appreciate Japanese culture without taking it for ourselves and acting like we invented this.
And then when the people who know more than us come to talk to us about it, we don't say like, oh, my opinion is law.
Right.
Just because it's my opinion.
Right. Like you can have a difference of opinion and still, appreciate something. Like that's not what that means at all. I don't know. I think you get the super duper woke crowd who never ever take naps and are up constantly, who just want to find anger in everything. What's up, OG? You trying to get in?
I'm just being known. I'm just being known. I don't have nothing to say.
You sure?
You sure? Making so much sense and talking so profound over there, I was just jaw dropped.
But yeah, man, you can't get mad at everybody just because they enjoy something. Like, man, it's okay for the white kid to enjoy hip hop when the white kid acts like they discovered hip hop and it's their culture and it's their birthright. Then we have a problem.
Because I mean, if we care about these things, shouldn't we want other people to appreciate it? Because you can't say I just said this, but you can't say like, oh, the black man is king, and then when people try to appreciate it, and I'm not saying appropriate, I mean appreciate it,
right.
You cut them off and say, okay, you can't enjoy this. So because I love hip hop and I want people to recognize it as a respectable genre of music, which it is. Mm-hmm. It's like it's the last genre of music in the world created. Like hip hop isn't that old. Hip hop is younger than our mothers, but it's risen to a point where it's. So I want people to appreciate that.
Right, and I think the other part of that is like you got to remember like what the beauty of hip hop was. It was created taking the breaks of disco music, using it to create a whole other genre, which is like the perfect metaphor for what black people have done. We created soul food from the scraps of pigs and the stuff that they left from us, and we created something out of it. And we took hip hop and we took the leftovers of other parts of records and combined them together to create a whole new genre of music. And that's something that should be appreciated. Like who's old dude from the Gorillas? The dude behind the Gorillas?
Oh, Damon.
Yeah, when he said, sampling isn't music. That's wrong.
That's totally wrong.
Are there lazy samplers? Absolutely. There are lazy samplers. But there's a talent to seeing what someone else did and saying, I can redo this, and creating something whole new out of it. That is talent.
Because when I was talking to you about the Jay Dilla's Running sample, please go listen to what he sampled from and how he. Because by the way, those drums don't repeat. So listen to how you chop those drums. That's making something entirely different. That's taking something, repurposing it, and making it something entirely different. So that is creating new music.
Yeah, like you got the people now that are taking just the late '90s R&B records and just
looping it.
Yeah, just looping it a few times. That's lazy. Like we know, but. For people to take like even some of the songs that you can hear in the background, there's been several prominent songs that have been sampled in hip hop that keep the feel while creating something completely different, and that is what talent is. Yes, Prince is a genius for the stuff that he did with music. There's no denying that. Beck is a musical genius, but there's also genius in taking what someone else did and creating something new from it.
Right.
Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like no idea is original. Like everything has been done at this point. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's rare we get something completely new. Like I think Anderson .Paak is creating a new genre of music in front of our eyes. It's very rare that we get people like him that come in and can create something new and he's basically doing it with the elements of old parts. He's mixing hip hop and soul and funk and all of that into something new while singing and rapping and doing it in a way. This is stuff that's been done before. It just hasn't been done the way he's doing it. So we have to appreciate those things while also recognizing that stuff's going to get repeated. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that irks me is when people act like rap is a genre of music. Rap is a form of expression.
Yeah.
There's no genre called sing. Sing is
exactly.
Sing is a
hip hop is the genre, rap is the act. So yeah.
Yeah, like there is, you use singing in all genres of music, so there's nothing wrong with using rap in all genres of music. We have to stop acting like rap is this monolith and can only be one set of things at any given time. Like, nah, rap can be a million different things.
All right.
Like, you can put rap in a rock rap. You can put rap in a country rap. You can put singing in a hip hop rap. Like, you can do all of that stuff. So we have to learn the difference between when people are stealing or when people are just paying homage. Like when people just get mad at Jay-Z for rapping Biggie lines. It's paying homage.
Like people
I say
like,
a big verse, I'm only bigging up my brother.
Like that's what drove me so crazy because like he said that line and then he said when I say a big verse, I'm only bigging up my brother. People are like, oh, he's still in line still. Like no, he just.
Do you know how many lines that Lil Wayne jacked from Hov? What's the line he took from either I'm the illest nigga doing it or these cats is losing it?
Oh yeah.
Volume 1, The City Is Mine. But the give me any amount of time, don't let Miss Carter grieve at the funeral, probably dripping tears on my sleeve. Volume 1. Like Wayne has done that a billion times with Hov lines. So it's amazing that the same people who like, man, Hov is biting bit. No, that's homage. Like Pusha T flipped a couple of Hov lines on his
like
latest
Rhyme
album.
No More when he did but that was on Numbers on the Board when he did the line from Rhyme No More.
Fonte did Cry No More.
Yeah.
On his latest album. Like that's paying homage. Like that's been done in rap for decades. Like it's something to say, hey look, you influenced me to the point I'm about to put some of your stuff, you know, in my bars. Like when I rapped, I used to flip Hov lines all the time. I'd hear something he did like, oh that was hard, let me flip that and turn it into something brand new. Like that's a rapper's way of paying homage to the people that came before you. And there's nothing, every rapper has done it, every good rapper has done it. Yeah. I can't think of a single good rapper that hasn't done that. Jay's done it with them lines. What do I think of Success? Sucks. He did that on American Gangster. Like it happens. It happens. Every rapper does. I think Emma's done it a couple times.
Yeah, Emma's done it. Yeah.
Every rapper does it. So we really have this bad habit of trying to make stuff original when it's not. Nothing's original. Everything's been done. What we're doing right now has been done.
Yeah, basically.
Two people discussing a topic in a barbershop. It's been done. It's been done. It's being done right now.
Yeah.
Which is why we're sitting over here, not by the barber chair. But
yeah, we gotta get Draymond in here.
Yeah. But yeah, we gotta recognize and get mad at the actual, like we get mad at the people who aren't appropriating. Like Eminem's new album dropped, and people are like, Eminem's a culture. Have you ever listened to Eminem? The dude who based his whole style off of Redman.
Redman is Eminem's favorite rapper, so
And
how crazy is that?
I love Redman. But do you know how much of a hip hop head you have to be to base your style off of Redman?
Because it took me a while to like Redman. Like it took me like I had to get in that mindset. Like like Redman was actually really putting words there.
Yeah, Muddy Waters was fire.
Right.
Like, but it's we act like because he came in, like Eminem could have went pop years ago, and he still stayed in with hip hop. He's done some pop things to lend to his fan base, but a lot of artists have done that. A lot of artists have gone pop. So like, why are we mad at him? Like he even says on his latest album, I cut my fan base into a third when I attacked Donald Trump. He didn't have to do that. He decided to. Mac Miller has attacked Donald Trump. He didn't have to. He decided to. Like Mac Miller made a damn Neo Soul album.
It's fire.
It's a fire Neo Soul album, and never once did you hear him say, "Yeah, I discovered Neo Soul."
Like I'm creating something new.
Yeah, like he was inspired to create an album. He made it. It was fire. And he stayed hip hop. He hasn't gone pop yet, and he's probably had every opportunity to go pop. He was dating a pop star, so he's had every opportunity to go pop, and they stayed hip hop. Like those are the people that we should acknowledge as appreciators and not appropriators, and give them their props for coming in, doing something,
doing their homework,
doing
more homework than people on our side probably have done, because there are a lot of people who are very lazy within the culture who could totally be labeled as appropriators, but they don't, just because.
Well, I mean, it's like I tell people, like, what is a vulture? A vulture is someone is a creature that eats what other people have killed. If you look at a pack of lions, every single lion does not contribute to every kill, but every lion eats. Like in a pack of lions, largely the women do the hunting, and the men are there for one purpose, and that is to protect the offspring from other male lions. Because if other male lions come in and run them out, their offspring dies, their genetic lineage dies. So that is the male lion's purpose, but they still eat. So if you're within the culture and you're eating off of it, you're not necessarily a vulture. Are you whack for not contributing back? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but I can't label you a vulture. I think there are people who have pimped out the culture. Like when Black Twitter was all obsessed with, who was that girl that was doing trap songs on guitar?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't gonna say her name, but the little white girl doing trap songs on guitar, and everybody just rushed to love that, and we made her famous. And like, there's plenty of talented black people doing that we don't give the same love to. Like, I have issue with those people, but I can't say that they're vultures because they are of this. Like, my prime example of this is Justin Timberlake has pretty much been doing black music his entire career.
All right.
He goes and does a show at the CMAs with Chris Stapleton. No one bats an eye. I was like, oh my God, Justin Timberlake. Beyonce, on the other hand, turns around and performs at the CMAs, and white people lose their mind. That is the chief difference, is that no matter how big a black person gets, when you go try to cross over to what they've taken from us already, you gonna get reminded that you don't belong there. So that's why I don't get mad when black people eat off the culture and don't give anything back, because this is all they can eat off of. All we can eat off of is our own. You can't go eat off country. Jay-Z couldn't go do a country music song tomorrow.
I wouldn't want to hear it, but yeah.
No, but I'm saying,
but no, I get your point.
Like people got mad that Beyonce had that country record on Lemonade. Like, people were upset about that. Like, white people were pissed. She's taking our music.
It's not a country song. But it is a country song.
Yeah. Like most country songs ain't even country songs anymore. Right. So why you mad at her for going back into a part of her heritage and doing that? And by the way, black people are in the roots of country music. So we can go into any genre we want without saying
country language.
Like, it to me, it makes, that to me is the difference in why I will never be mad at a black person that's eating and not necessarily giving back, because they can't go eat anywhere else. When a white person does it, when Post Malone turns around and becomes a rock singer and acts like he never knew anything about hip hop,
because it's coming.
After his next album doesn't sell, he's gonna be over doing his country rock thing, and no one's gonna bat an eye. Everyone's gonna be, oh, he's so talented. He's so talented. But we'll flip their shit if a black person. So that's why we gotta stop giving people like Post Malone love.
He's giving you the judgmental look right now.
You people who want to sing White Iverson and Rockstar and whatever whack ass songs he makes. But you got to.
But no, that covered it all. Basically, do your homework.
Do your homework.
Appreciate the cultures.
Stop being mad at people who are giving back to the culture. Start actually getting mad at people who aren't of the culture and aren't contributing anything. And black people, respect other black people's subcultures. The most bougie cul-de-sac black people want to do trap everything, and ain't none of y'all been in the trap house.
I'm not going to mention her name because she would be embarrassed if I mention this. But this person stayed in DC for a while, and she said the most bougie black people ever. But every Saturday and Sunday, trap lunch.
Trap something. Stop putting trap in front of everything.
But if those people actually came into that space, they wouldn't be
comfortable.
Accepted. Yeah,
you wouldn't even be comfortable over there. People will sit in woo child the ghetto all day on Twitter, but they want to turn around and go to trap yoga.
What the hell is trap yoga? What is it?
Yoga while trap music is playing, I guess.
I know, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, why would you even?
Because that's the new hot thing to do.
Yeah.
The new hot thing to do is to put trap in front of something that has nothing to do with trap anything, and it's usually attended by people who have never been to a trap house and look down on people who trap.
Trap spelunking, trap
barbershop,
trap camping, yeah.
Trap driving, trap swimming, trap water aerobics. Like, come on, man.
That would be kind of fun.
Trap Zumba.
I don't know, trap Zumba would be kind of fun.
Trap NASCAR.
No.
like, come on, man. Like y'all gotta stop, man. Oh, by the way, Club Monster soccer jersey. It'll be available at their website on September 4th, which will probably be well before y'all see this.
Their 2015 PSG jersey, by the way, which is one of my favorite. I'm a huge soccer fan. One of my favorite soccer jerseys, so it's modeled after that one.
I know nothing about soccer, but this was fire. Their show last night was fire. Shout out to Club Monster. We're gonna have to get them on. An episode, Love More Set, was also extremely fire.
Very good, very good.
Extremely fire. So go out and support your Birmingham people. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I don't know when we'll be back. But we are working on something.
Don't give up details yet. Just say we're working.
Well,
on
we're
something.
working on something with the people at Trim Barbershop that we hope to get started within the next couple of weeks. That we'll be kind of doing in conjunction with this, and also this will be also available in a podcast format, so you can have it out quicker, so we can get some timely topics in as soon as I get my setup portable. Yeah, speaking of Beyonce, there she is.
Very good video.
The guitar player in my old band had an obsession with breaking down horn sections onto a guitar because he was just an egomaniac and that's what he liked to do. What's up, Pat? He when we were adding this as a cover, he was like, I wanted to do this because I wanted to prove I can play the horns exactly as they sound on a rock guitar, and he did it.
I'm impressed.
And it was fire. I think there's a video of it somewhere on my mom's old computer. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
That's actually impressive.
Because I was like, yo, this is like hard. But anyways, that's completely off topic. Till next time, kidswearcrowns.com. Fucks with the vision. 2200trim.com. Like I said, new project with them coming very, very, very soon. The podcast will be coming very, very soon. And check out the site. Subscribe. We're doing some big things over there.
Shirts. Like I want to retire off this.
Yeah, buy some shirts, man. Yeah, check out the site. We're actually about to be upgrading that real soon.
Very soon.
So we're doing that, and we just got some cool stuff. Ryan is always adding new stuff to the website, new podcasts, new Big Brother posts. I'm gonna try to type something up soon as I can figure out what I want to talk about. Before Ronnie fires me.
Yeah, you're on thin ice right now.
But anyways, man, we out till next time. Peace.